This week I've been spending time in the 2025 Hyundai Elantra Hybrid Limited. Pricing for the Elantra Hybrid starts at just over $26,000 for the blue trim, and as tested for this limited trim is $31,000. Like I said, I've been living with this all week. I've taken it to work, taken it on trips, transported some friends around. So I'm going to be giving you my impressions on what it's been like to live with. So without further ado, let's go ahead and get started. So this Elantra is finished in Serenity White. There's a lot of interesting body lines and jagged edges going on with the new Elantra these days. I actually owned a 2018 Hyundai Elantra that I drove off the showroom floor with 14 miles, and my wife owned a 2014 Hyundai Elantra that she drove for several years while we were dating. Very good, very reliable cars. For 2025, actually I think 2024, they did a little bit of a facelift here, a little bit more seamless, LED DRLs, LED headlights with automatic high beams as well. Very bright, very good at night. We have 17-inch wheels here, pretty sharp. New for 2025 is the addition of the SEL Sport trim. You now have the blue trim, which is the base model, SEL Sport, and then you have this one here, which is the Limited. So that's pretty cool. Gives you a little bit better styling than the base model. Go ahead and pop open the trunk here. Decent amount of space back here. No spare tire, unfortunately, but you could retrofit one under here if you'd want. You get 60/40 folding rear seats. Just pull those levers back there and folds down. Pretty decent opening too, so you could actually use it. Go ahead and climb into the back seat real quick. Interior is gray, very nice looking. I'm 6 foot. The driver's seat's in my position. I'm ever so slightly grazing the roof of the car, and I have about 2 inches of legroom. Not bad. A little bit of a mat pocket here, plastic on the rear seats, a couple USB-C ports, pull down center armrest with a couple cup holders. Limited has a sunroof as well. Let's go ahead and take a look at what's under the hood. What's under the hood of the Elantra Limited is a 1.6 liter naturally aspirated 4-cylinder made into a 6-speed dual clutch transmission. Combined, it makes about 139 horsepower or so, and just the motor alone just makes just over 100 horsepower. It sounds like it's a low horsepower number, but it does almost get 200 pound-feet of torque, so it has enough power to move out of its own way. We'll kind of get into that as we take it for a drive here in a few moments. The Elantra Limited gets 50 miles a gallon combined. The Elantra Hybrid Blue gets about 54 miles a gallon combined. So if your main focus is fuel economy, get the base model, but I would swing for the nicer, more equipped model and take that hit in fuel economy because the features that are in this vehicle are pretty awesome. Up front here, you do get a power seat with power lumbar as well. This is 2-person memory. They are heated and ventilated, which you don't even get in a Honda Civic. Then up front here, you do get dual 10.25-inch displays, decent backup camera as well. Android Auto, Apple CarPlay, focused infotainment, only wired, no wireless unfortunately, but it works really well. Got a ton of customizability in here. This vehicle has ambient lighting that I'll show you later that wraps around the front of the dash here. You can customize the themes in the gauge cluster. Customize pretty much everything in this car. Down through here, you do get a dual zone climate control system, your heated and ventilated seat controls. Ventilated seats work really well, very impressed with that. Down here, you do get some connectivity, 12-volt outlet, wireless charger for your phone. Down here, you do get a normal gear selector, which is nice to see there. Drive mode selector, your camera, quick access button there. Parking brake, auto hold, couple cup holders that are really deep. They would fit big gulps just fine, but smaller drinks tend to struggle. You can't really fit them in there without, the lid coming off and splashing everywhere. Small size center console and a decent sized glove box as well. Auto dimming rear view mirror. Illuminated visor mirror as well that you have to turn on manually, but that's okay. Overall, I'm pretty impressed with this interior. Yes, it does feel a little bit on the cheaper side, but I mean, it's a nice commuter car. I mean, I'm not going to sit in here and rag on the materials for the price of the car. I think it's well equipped for the price. Something that's interesting is you do get these gray accents that only surround the driver. If you look at the door panels on the other sides of the car, it's only the driver that gets this gray accent. Kind of see why they did it, more of a driver-focused cockpit here, but I did get some feedback from passengers that have ridden along this week that they find this a little bit awkward and claustrophobic. Very interesting here. I know my 2018 Elantra didn't have that, and I just think it looks a little weird in my opinion. So with all that being said, let's go ahead and take this for a spin. Do a quick maneuverability test, see what the turning radius is like. Yeah, not bad. Not bad at all, actually. Turns on a dime. Now, this Elantra has 3 drive modes. You get Eco, Sport, and Smart. And if you leave it in a drive mode and you start it up, it will always default in Eco. You can't change that, which is a little unfortunate. So this week I've been driving around in Eco because I got sick of changing the drive modes all the time. This vehicle has a great ride. It's got a multi-link rear suspension. I think it's one of the smoothest riding cars in its class. Road noise is pretty decent. It's not the quietest I've heard, but it's certainly not the loudest like the Honda Civic or the Toyota Corolla. A little bit of a miss here is you don't get the blind spot cameras like you do in other Hyundai Limited models like the Kona. Just putzing around normally, get pretty decent acceleration. I've been averaging about 43.5 miles a gallon this week. Not too bad at all, especially with this Ohio weather. We've had a few days this week where it was 50 degrees, and then we've had a few days where it's 20 degrees, and hybrids do not get great fuel economy when it's, really cold out, nor do any gas car really. But overall, I've been really impressed. I've taken this on a few trips this week and averaged just over 50 miles a gallon, so it actually gets better than what the EPA rated it as. Brake pedal feels great. There's none of that funky regen / brake thing that you kind of feel in some Toyota hybrids. Six-speed dual clutch shifts pretty smooth. The transition from electric to gas is noticeable, but it's not too jerky, not too obtrusive. It is a pretty windy day, so you are going to hear a little bit more wind noise. But overall, here at 57 miles an hour, it's pretty quiet, rides nice. It's honestly a pretty good little runner. Give it a little bit of an acceleration here out of a dig. Not bad. It's not slow, but it's not fast either. All right, let's go ahead and put this in sport mode and do a quick 0 to 60, come to a complete stop, and floor it. Not bad, really. Not bad at all. Now, as far as steering and handling goes, it is really boring to drive. There's no feedback in the steering at all. It doesn't weight up at all around corners. But for the targeted buyer, you're just going to use this to commute back and forth to work and back and forth to the grocery store. It's fine. If you want something more sporty, get a Honda Civic or a Mazda. But I mean, outside of that, that's the only major downfall with this vehicle. If you can get past the, in my opinion, over-styled styling here. One thing that I love about Hyundais is their highway driving assist, their adaptive cruise control, and lane centering. It works excellent. You can take your hands off the wheel for quite some time without it prompting you to, keep your hands on the wheel. I think it's the best in the business, and the fact that you get something this good in a vehicle for this price is just absolutely amazing. I love this system. Might hear a little bit of rattling, and that's probably the key fob in my phone down here. This week I haven't had any rattles or squeaks in this interior. I think it's buttoned down nicely and put together pretty well. I'd be curious to test the SEL Sport trim that just came out. I think that might be a really good value. Add some nicer looking wheels, I think a better infotainment system. You lose the heated seats though, which is kind of a bit of a bummer. The fact that you get this good ventilated and heated seats in a vehicle for this price is pretty good. I don't know. I'd like to try it. I will say the transmission and stuff is not as smooth as something as with a CVT, but I can't fault it. It feels like a nice, normal, smooth automatic transmission. Yeah, this thing's got plenty of power. That's fine. Just so easy to drive. That's what I loved about my Elantra and my wife's Elantra when we had them, is they were just perfect commuter cars. They're appliances, essentially. They did what they needed to do fine. And they, were reliable and very efficient, too. I know my wife was getting 40 miles a gallon. I was getting like 45 miles a gallon in mine. I didn't have a single issue with mine. I actually sold my Elantra to my family member who still drives it and has like 80 some thousand miles on it. Had zero issues outside of regular maintenance. My wife's car, we bought it with 50,000 miles, and she drove it to almost 160 before it had issues with the I think it was a PCV system or something like that. But I mean, it was rock solid, reliable. And then we bought the Volkswagen, which then broke even more than that. And then we bought the Honda. But we loved our Elantras. They're really solid cars. All right, this vehicle does come equipped with a Bose stereo system. So we're going to do a little stereo system test. I'll put some B-roll of what this vehicle looks like at night over top of the stereo system test. So let's go ahead and get started. Not bad at all. I would rate this system a very, very high C tier. It does tend to kind of mud together at higher volumes. It's certainly not the best Bose system that I've heard, but certainly not the worst by far. It's almost a B tier, but that would put it on the same tier as a Civic or a Mazda 3, which I don't think it's quite at that level. So high C tier it is, not bad. All right, I think that's going to wrap up the review on the 2025 Hyundai Elantra Hybrid Limited. Shout out to Hyundai for providing this vehicle for me to film this week. I've really enjoyed it. It's been a pleasure. I'd be curious to know your guys' thoughts on the Elantra Hybrid and how it stacks up to the competition. I'll always enjoy reading your guys' comments. Be sure to like and subscribe, and we'll go ahead and see you in the next video. Take care, everybody.